Witches Hill.
So we were messing around with chaos magic the other day, and we happened to summon Meat Hanky.
He summoned him for a little bit.
Yeah, he jiggled around, and like for some reason he always has like this like little thing of bologna hanging out of his pants.
Yeah, it was kind of off-putting.
You're telling me, like, he appears out of nowhere in this like little cloud of dust or whatever it was, and then he starts jiggling around, but the only thing that you really hear is like what sounds like two meat patties slapping together, and then you see him tucking away bologna into his pants, and it's just really fucking creepy. And before like we really got a chance to ask him any questions, he just kind of poofed away and just like poof,
Gone.
poof. Yeah, gone.
It's just gone like that. Poof.
Yeah. Like it really makes me think that maybe Meat Hanky's a shadow person or something.
He's a shadow person, but in the form of jiggly meat.
Yeah. Like, what? He doesn't stand over your bed? He stands over mine all the time. I just act like I don't see him.
I have never seen this apparition that you speak of.
Oh, he's not an apparition. He's actually there. You could feel him breathing on you.
What does it sound like? Is it like all meaty as well?
It sounds like, imagine stuffing like mashed potatoes filled with gravy into someone's throat and then pushing on their lungs.
Ew.
Yeah, it's really fucking gross.
Does it smell like pork chops?
No, it smells like raspberries, which is really, really like it's
bizarre.
It's off-putting. You know, like half the time I think he's just like throwing jelly at my neck.
So what makes you think this is a shadow person?
Well, I mean, he likes to hide in the shadows, and like half the time the only defining features that you can really see is like the little glare reflection from his glasses in the dark.
Okay.
And whenever he licks his lips, you can see like the glare moving in a circular motion where the mouth should be, and that's where he is. And I don't know what other people's expectations of shadow people are, but that is definitely something that I've come to terms with, is that he licks his lips in the dark and he stares at me. This doesn't happen to you?
No, not at all. Never once.
I'm gonna have to talk to him.
But there's someone else you can talk to.
Who can I talk to? I need to resolve this like today.
Well, you can get the answers.
What?
Because welcome to Witches Hill.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Tim.
And we have a very, very special interview that we did.
It was fun. It was great times. And like we said, and we were speaking of, you find out about shadow people.
Yes. Some exciting things are heading out to you guys in the world coming this, hopefully from what he was saying this year. But you'll hear our interview here in a minute with Mike Ricksecker. Ow, fuck! I punched my amp. I was on a roll.
Oh,
Mike Ricksecker, who's a historian and author, best-selling author, and his partner, Shana Wankel, who's part of the Society of the Haunted.
It was fun. Now, we did this interview over webcam, so you're going to hear a few audio glitches that can't really do anything about. So,
yeah, we did our best with it. But, yeah, take what you will. We hope you guys all enjoyed as much as we did, and we made 2 new friends.
Yes.
So, without further ado, Mickey, get out of the closet! The bodies are coming out of there. We have to get the cat out of the festering body room.
All right. Here, why don't you guys listen to this interview, and we'll see you guys later.
Put that finger down.
All right, well, welcome back to Witches Hill. I'm Pat. And I'm Tim. And we're here today with a very special interview with 2 highly reputable paranormal investigators, Mike Ricksecker and Shana Wankel. Welcome to the show, guys.
No, thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Now, Mike is a ghost historian and a historical paranormal author, and Shana is from the Society of the Haunted. And we asked around from many of our fans if they had questions for you. And in front of us, we have about 20 questions.
All right.
Yeah. So, just kicking it right off, it says that you guys are in Illinois, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and you guys had spent some time around Alton, Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of people who aren't from Illinois always think that Chicagoland is the best thing to go to for like paranormal activity, going to like Bachelor's Grove and stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, Alton, Illinois is known for,
quite a bit paranormal activity.
Can you tell us what it's like living, or like at least being around that area, if you've ever experienced anything out of the normal?
Oh my gosh, where to start? Yeah, well, they call Alton the most haunted small town in America, and it really holds up to the reputation. There's a lot of different locations there, and it's really like seriously, where do you start? You know, from Mineral Springs Hotel to Milton School to McPike Mansion, the old Wall. You know, there's all kinds of places around there. First Unitarian Church. So our favorite place is Mineral Springs, and we've really grown attached to that location. A number of different experiences that we've had there. Shana in particular has really become attached to who we've been calling Molly up there. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, Molly.
Yeah. And we don't even know if that's her real name or not. Just that's the name that came to me. And when I put it out there asking if that's her name, the response I got was so strong and overwhelming that I've just been calling her that.
Okay. All right. I completely understand that. A while back, we caught an EVP of what we suspect to be a little girl. And it's kind of vague on like hearing it, but it really sounds like she's trying to say, call me Caroline, like she's trying to get her name across.
Okay.
But I do relate with that type of situation.
Yeah. So what would you say first got you interested in any of the paranormal field, I guess?
I guess I can start. I mean, for both of us, we each had experiences that launched us into this. For me, though, it was when I was a child, and I had a experience with a shadow person in my bedroom. Woke up, I was about 8 or 9 years old, woke up in the middle of the night in my bedroom, and just, right in the corner of my room was this tall, dark figure. Of course, I had no idea that it was, called a shadow person at that time. I thought there was an intruder in the house, and, being that age, it's like, oh my God, someone's going to kill me.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to scream, my mouth open, but nothing came out. I was just, too frightened. And it did something very odd and unusual for, a shadow person report. And actually approached my bed, kind of leaned over, and then crossed my arms across my body, and then ran off down the hall. And I actually talk about this in the most recent video that we just posted on the Haunted Road Media channel. So you can actually get some photos of the house and everything there.
Oh, awesome.
Finally found my voice, ran, to my parents' room, and, they tried to tell me it was a bad dream and that I'd been asleep and all that. And it was like, no, I was awake for all of this. So, that really gave me the idea that there was something else, supernatural to this world, because, when it leaned over my bed and was looking at me, there was no face. There's nothing. It was just all black. So it definitely wasn't a person.
Yeah.
And so that was really the first moment that kind of launched me into it. It was kind of almost more so when I became a teenager, and I was reading Hans Holzer and read the Amityville Horror, and I had my first little paranormal investigation without even realizing it was a paranormal investigation, because we're talking late 80s, early 90s, and there were no TV shows that told you, paranormal investigator or ghost hunting. There's none of that. So it was kind of, flying by the seat of your pants, learning what you could about, the spiritual realm and the paranormal and all that. And being in a small town, it was hard to get my hands on that information, but I was extremely interested. And that's really where it started for me. Shana could tell you about hers.
Yeah, mine started a lot later in life. I'd had no experiences whatsoever as a child, nothing in high school. It wasn't until about 2002 when I moved to Alton, Illinois, and lived in a very haunted house. And that's how it got started for me. There was a little girl. I didn't know who she was, but she interacted a lot, and she just kind of opened the floodgates for me, I guess, because each experience after that became even stronger than the one before that. So it's kind of gotten me to where I am today, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and notice that was Alton, Illinois, none of the places that we already previously mentioned. That was just the house.
Yeah. We're definitely going to have to come down there and visit that place.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. There's so much to do down there. And if you do go to Mineral Springs, you got to stop in at It's Raining Zen. So that's our favorite shop.
It's Raining Zen?
It's right. Yeah, It's Raining Zen. It's a metaphysical shop there. It's really cool. Dave and Don are who head up the establishment are fantastic people. So we always plug them whenever we talk about Mineral Springs.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we have one up here too. It's Euphoria Emporium, and they've been helping us out with a lot of our paranormal investigations as of late.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But getting back to the questions, it sounds like you guys have had a lot of experience. So what would you say, if you could narrow down the biggest letdown that you've had during an investigation?
Biggest letdown? Wow, that's a different question. I don't know. That's tough because we don't really go into investigations with expectations. It's kind of one of those where, whatever happens. Mm-hmm. And, some of the locations that we go in there multiple times. And, it's really kind of, how is the building or the location reacting some of those days? It's kind of like you show up and nobody's home. So, I guess those might be letdowns.
Yeah. I guess.
Okay.
We always have, the answers to the really burning questions, and when you don't always get those, that can be a letdown because it's very frustrating. But that's part of this, though, because I don't think we're supposed to know everything. And so that's why we keep doing what we do.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to kind of connect the dots as time goes on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, we always throw out there the questions of, what the afterlife is like, what their experience is like, and those sorts of things. And while we'll get answers to a lot of other questions, it seems to be those questions that we don't get the answers to.
Okay. So what would you say would be your favorite location that you've ever been to?
You want to take that one first?
Probably Mineral Springs is my favorite now. The Goldenrod Showboat, when it was still standing, was probably number one on my list. Unfortunately, it's no longer standing. So,
was that down in Alton?
It actually originated in St. Louis, St. Charles. It moved to my hometown of Campsville, Illinois. So I had it there for quite a while. And the plan was to move it back, but fate was not in the cards for that one. So
arson fire. What was it, a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
which is sad.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah.
For me, the Goldenrod Showboat was amazing. Mineral Springs right now, which we've been investigating a lot. That's an absolute favorite. My favorite haunted house is a Stone Lion Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And it's one of those, if you ever go out to Guthrie, you have to visit an extremely haunted town out there, fantastic historic section. This particular house, just standing there on the street, you look up at it and you're just like, yeah, that's a haunted house. But it is, seriously. But when you walk into it, it's got that very, very creepy, cool ambiance. And really, when you first walk in, it's like they have an old embalming table sitting there from when it used to be a mortuary. There's a Egyptian sarcophagus that's against the one wall that somebody donated there. It's just, like I said, the ambiance of it, very creepy. You're hearing the floors creak all the time, footsteps all the time, doors are opening and closing on their own. You can almost kind of hear voices upon the air. The beautiful house, and it just has a very kind of early 20th century feel to it. And I just love it there. And I still have to get Shana out there. She hasn't been yet.
I don't get out much.
Yeah.
I know how it gets, especially with the winters out here in Illinois.
They suck. Yes.
They're so bad. And there's nothing to show for it either.
No.
Have you guys ever brought somebody who hasn't been quite open to the paranormal to actually start believing, changing a skeptic to a believer in a way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And sometimes it's tough, but even like with my parents this year have opened up a little bit, and that's, they never believed in ghosts sort of thing. My dad still claims to not to, but just like with my mom, she was always a little bit more open to it, but would stay guarded. And I think maybe after having done this for so many years now, they came out and saw me speak last year. Now my mom is like, and this was just like a few weeks ago or a little bit less than a month ago. She's just to let you know, I do believe in this stuff. And then she was like, and my dad was asleep at the time. He was like, and she said, well, your dad does too, even though he'll never admit it. I'm like, okay. So, but I think it's been years of just me doing this, and they read my books and all that. So I think that's kind of helped them kind of open up a little bit more. So my sister, on the other hand, she never will.
I feel like it's always kind of more of a personal kind of thing. You know, and certain things might convince certain people, but not others.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're always going to have those people that are on the polar sides of it. There's always going to be the people that are, will never ever believe. I mean, a ghost could be standing there right in front of them, and they'll be like, "No, there's some other explanation for it." And then you'll have the person on the other end that no matter what in the world it is, they're always going to believe it's a ghost. Even if it's like blatantly, that was a pipe banging against the wall or something. It's the people in the middle that you kind of. I wouldn't necessarily say try to convince, but that are like, you'll have a better chance of trying to, get them over your side. Say, look, this stuff really does happen. And if you have had an experience, and this is what really, kind of drives me, is those people that have had experiences that are way too guarded to, try to say anything because of, the culture that we've had for so many years, where if you admitted to hearing or seeing something, they were going to, lock you up and throw away the key. And our culture isn't like that so much anymore. So you try to, put it out there and be like, it's okay. You can admit it. And we've had a lot of people that have said, thank you for helping me realize I'm not crazy. And so that's really been something heartwarming in doing all of this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially when, like, I've had my share cases of, like, thinking that I'm just going completely insane. Like, I've heard things like tapping on the walls, and I'm just watching, like, go around. But then next thing you know, I'm seeing the same person sitting next to me watching it. And so I'll point it out to them, like, did you hear that? And then it just kind of unravels from there, and you start noticing things together. And if you can't explain it, it's just like, all right, well, what can you chalk it up to be?
Right.
Yeah. So
what would you say has been your best piece of evidence that you guys have gathered?
Ooh, that's a good question, because we've had a lot of interesting things.
Some of my best stuff was not captured on video, of course. But we've had some pretty cool, actually, some of my coolest captures or experiences was tied into a skeptic situation, and he is definitely no longer a skeptic. So there was no video evidence of that, of course, and I wish there was, because it was very compelling. It was the stuff that scary movies are made of. So
you're talking about when the bookcase was thrown across the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that would convince just about anyone.
He was the last one out of the building. That I was the first one. I felt like hell was about to break. I can say hell on here, right?
Oh yeah.
I can do that. Okay.
It's their show, not ours. You can drop that spot on ours. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I was the first one out of the building because I sensed that something was going to go down. So I was first one out. He was the last one out of the building. And he exited the doorway just seconds before this bookcase came flying across the room and smacked into the doorway, and the door shut behind us. I mean, he's running around the parking lot, the building. What do I do? Where do I go? What did I just see?
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was done for the night.
That's pretty good. I wish I was there for that one.
Yeah.
Just to see that. But as far as stuff that we've actually captured, a good video to go check out is our stuff on the Campsville grade school videos, or like our haunted school compilation video that shows the evidence. That school in particular, we got like all kinds of disembodied footsteps there, which is more of a residual haunt. But we did get an apparition down at the bottom of the stairs, and when we tried to debunk it and set this whole situation up again on another day, there was a pebble that was thrown across the ground during that. We also captured a shadow person on video at that location as well. So that one, we got a lot of great captures at.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, whenever you capture like a shadow figure, it's always unnerving, at least to me. Like, no matter where it is, it's just something about them, just completely unsettling.
Yeah, they're not all that bad. I mean, to me, they're just like people. You have some good ones, some bad ones. And so, yeah, there's some nasty and nefarious reports about shadow people, but other ones where they're just kind of, checking you out. I mean, my first experience, that was really profound, was with a shadow person. But even though the thing touched me, it crossed my arms across my body and all that stuff, as an adult now, going back and thinking about it, it's like, it didn't actually hurt me. Yeah. And a lot of the other ones, I've walked into the room and I see this thing go darting across, and it was like I scared it. Yes. So, I don't think they're all bad like some people try to make them out to be.
I completely agree.
Like maybe they're just a little more curious, just as much as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're viewing us like a ghost or some type of other spirit that they don't understand.
Yeah, there really could be, and I've put that out there that maybe that shadow person, when I walked into, it was a kitchen at a restaurant, that maybe they saw me as the ghost. And as far as the curiosity, I just got a email the other day from a woman. It was a red-eyed entity, red-eyed shadow person report. And usually those reports are, they're bad, they're nasty, they're there to terrorize and all that. Mm-hmm. And what she said about it was like, yeah, it was very, very creepy, but all it ever did was stand there and stare at her. And that was it.
Yeah. Huh. That's thought-provoking, really.
Very. Yeah.
Huh. Well, this next question is actually focused more towards Shana. You've mentioned that you're a witch. I actually had a question. During investigations, has that ever either increased activity or decreased? Have you ever noticed, like, whenever she's around, does it ever increase or decrease in type of activity? I'm asking because I also identify as that. So
I personally, I was raised Lutheran.
Okay.
So, and then somewhere along the way, I had more questions than there were answers for. And then I started meeting and hanging out with like-minded people that kind of said, here, try this and see how you like it, And I've noticed that as the years go by and the more experiences that I've had, everything is definitely, there are more experiences. I have to probably attribute it to, I don't maybe have nearly the amount of filters that I used to have before,
mm-hmm.
that I'm more open to it. But I know that I'm a very firm believer in crystals and the different, vibrations that they give off and how they interact with my own energy. And I says when I have them and when I don't have them, and just little things, like that. I think it's different for me.
Okay. Now, aside from just using crystals, have you ever used any type of magic during an investigation?
I don't really do any type of spell work or anything during an investigation. Not to say that I've never, done it, but I don't do it now. So, it just, knowing what I know now compared to what I knew then, it's, you definitely want to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. You do stuff like after the fact for different various reasons. So,
yeah.
Perhaps protection, maybe a cleansing or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And same with crystals, or same with whatever type of symbol that you're using or the words that you're putting out there. It is definitely all about intent. So if you aren't careful with what you put out there, then what you get back might be more than you bargained for.
Completely agree. We've had our fair share of that. Oh, good. Now this next question is focused on Mike.
Okay.
Now, with you being an author and a writer, do you have a preference on what you like to write about more, either fiction or nonfiction?
That's an excellent question. I get that one quite a bit, and it's really, it just depends on my mood. Because I started off when I was a kid. I've been writing since I was 7 years old, and so I was writing a lot of detective fiction back then because I really liked. At 7 years old, I really liked the Encyclopedia Brown books and trying to solve those little mysteries, and so I was trying to write my own. But I also wrote little ghost stories, and I also wrote, if you can imagine, at 7 years old, some historic fiction. So I've always been, Thanks. So I always liked being creative and creating my own little stories and that sort of thing. But what I really enjoy about the nonfiction is it really goes hand in hand with the research that we do and diving into this old history and uncovering these stories that have been lost to time. That's been a real thrill when we come across a piece of information that is like, oh my God, nobody knows about this. Or like Shana discovered some old newspaper articles and ghost stories from like 100 years ago, 150 years ago that we just recently did a project here with ALTON on some old ghost stories from down there. And so doing the research for that, and all that's going to become a book. I had to write those scripts and all that stuff. So that's real. It's kind of part of that mystery writing again, but instead of being fictional mystery writing, now it's nonfiction history writing, which is actually really cool. And I am, since I have all the shadow people experiences, I'm writing a book on shadow people as well. So that's been
that's cool.
Yeah, that's been really cool as far as like, okay, here's my experiences. Here's experiences that people have shared with me over the years, and kind of giving the nuts and bolts as to what there are. Here's some different theories, that sort of thing. So, I could talk about writing all day because we have the Encounter series, which is not just me, but that's other people who have had experiences as well. It kind of goes back to that whole sharing of experiences and letting people know that, hey, you're not alone. There's other people that have had these experiences, and they may not be able to relate always to mine, but maybe to some other people's they could relate to. And so I just love to write.
That's awesome. That
is really awesome.
Can't wait to hear about or read the Shadow Person book, though.
Yeah, that does sound. I really want to check that one.
Yeah,
out.
Definitely.
Yeah, goal is to have that out this year. So I'm still in the process of writing, so I haven't even gotten to actually publishing it yet, but
okay.
Hopefully in time. I always try to get something out for Halloween, so that's the goal.
Yep. Now, as you're going through some of the more historical side of these like ghost stories, has there been one that you just kind of pick out as like one of your favorites?
There's a lot. What's your favorite? Or should I go first?
God.
Well, what I like, kind of, like I was saying, finding those stories that had been lost to time. One that I haven't talked about it for a while, but I used to talk about it all the time, was one that I included in my book, Ghost of Maryland, where, it was this little one-liner that I came across on the website that was at Mount Airy Plantation, and it was just a little one-liner about this girl that was haunting the place as she was forlorn over losing the love of her life. It was like, okay, well, that's interesting, but what happened? How did she lose the love of her life? Why is she a ghost now? And all this stuff. And so that was a lot of reach in trying to dig up, okay, who was she? And I actually found her story in an old book from the early 1900s, and it wasn't a book on ghost stories or even really family history. It was a book on old colonial mansions. And wow. So I found, history on this mansion back in Maryland. And within it, it had a couple of paragraphs on this girl named Ariana Calvert, who was in love with this young man in the area that her father did not approve of. And he forbade her from seeing him. And so she would sneak off and, go see him anyway. And so the father sent her away to go live with her sisters in Annapolis and just said, you are not allowed to see this boy. And so she became very, very, very depressed. And her sisters are trying to help her out, find her new suitors to marry her and all that stuff. She wanted nothing to do with these guys. And so she became very, very ill from her depression.
Wow.
Yeah, so much so to the fact that it was pretty much going to kill her. Her father passed away. Her mother invited her back to the house and said, okay, well, I'll let you see the boy. But by then he was already off doing his own thing. It was too late. And Ariana died basically of a broken heart. Ooh. All that from a little one-liner,
Yeah.
So, to me, it's a thrill to be able to find stories like that.
Yeah, it's a true treasure find.
Yeah, very sad and heartbreaking, but still, it's that's her story that was lost to time now being retold today, and now she can be remembered properly.
This question actually isn't written down, but this just popped in my head. With you being able to finally tell her story, do you think that may have put her to like true rest? Not having to like be stuck here thinking about certain things, maybe she like unfinished business?
I would like to think so. There's no way to really know unless you go back there and see if she's still around and try to ask her. And I haven't been back to the house since then. So
okay,
that would be great to follow up on. Yeah.
Okay. During all these investigations, do you have a main goal that you would like to try to accomplish, whether it be just finding the evidence to support the paranormal, or possibly just releasing certain spirits to be at true rest, or what have you?
Can you want to take it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always been more than just finding evidence to support paranormal activity exists. And it's always a great thing, you know, when you do that. But all of these hauntings have real people attached to them. And those people are still people now. They're just in a different form. So I think that giving them a voice back, you know, there's a lot of these spirits that are just like, you know, somebody noticed me, and somebody does. You know, they put down the bells and whistles stuff and just put themselves out there, just talk and say, hey, you know, I'm here. If you're here, if there's anybody here, you know, what do you want to say? You know, the floor is yours. Whatever you want to say, talk to me, I'm listening. And you'll be surprised the activity that you get sometimes. But sometimes you get answers to questions. A lot of the times you do not. But, you know, you still make a connection. And if you've made a connection with somebody, whenever you come back, they may recognize you by name. You know, they may recognize who you are, and you may very well see them. You know, that's the most exciting part about it for me, is because I'm always looking for answers, but I don't always get them, but I still like that connection. So that's keeping history alive, one investigation at a time, you know?
It's a proper way to do it, though. I mean, it's really commendable to be able to do that.
Just to get that story told.
Yeah.
So when you guys are going on your investigations, what type of equipment do you guys like to bring with?
Like how you looked at me like that. Well, we always say that our best tool is ourselves, our own bodies, our own feelings, you know, anything that we can perceive with our five senses or your sixth sense. Well, we try to keep it basic, you know, audio recorder, you know, of course we have our different cameras and what have you. You know, we'll take along an EMF detector, like a K2 meter or something like that. You know, I've been able to use it as a communication device before. That's on rare occasion, but it kind of gives you an idea of the type of environment that's around. We do like to use the SLS camera. We've got some interesting evidence with that. But really, we just keep it simple. You know, flashlight, notepad, you know, that sort of thing. You know, we don't have a lot of equipment. We don't use the ghost box. So yeah, we keep it simple.
Okay. Sometimes simple is the best way to go, you know?
Yep.
Hey, not carrying around all that stuff that like we had before. Oh my God.
It can be a lot. It can be a lot. And, you know, you kind of, you know, you test different things out. You know, I have a UV flashlight that, you know, for a while people were thinking, well, maybe the regular flashlight is scaring off the spirits, and, you know, a different wavelength will work better. So you try that. Didn't really work out. Or even some people are moving away from the IR lights. They spend so much time setting up, you know, all these different cameras, you know, all over the place and running all.
We're breaking up a little bit.
Uh-oh.
I blame Frontier.
Okay.
I blame our internet provider.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens.
Frontier is terrible.
Oh, I've heard about Frontier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, they're legendary.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, is there any specific thing, like an equipment, that you just refuse to use?
Gotta be the ghost box.
Ghost box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ghost app.
Yeah,
Any
we
of that
did we did a video a couple months ago on why we hate the ghost box. So
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have to put that in the link below so everybody knows why.
Yeah, it's interesting because we break down in that video how radio works and all that stuff. So
Okay.
you know, it's not just because it's loud and obnoxious, even though you know it's loud and obnoxious.
Oh, very, very.
So, while you guys have been out anywhere in these investigations, has there ever been a moment where you guys felt you might have been marked, say like with a random bruise or cuts that just seem to appear?
I know you've had that.
Oh, I've had that. Yeah. The night that the one that I mentioned about the skeptic and the furniture being thrown around, that same night I got scratched. That same day, all of a sudden my arm was burning and I looked down and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, so I didn't see anything standing around. But I also, it didn't really freak me out. You know, I wasn't really scared or anything just because, you know, a child could scratch you by getting your attention.
Yeah.
Trying to get your attention, they can scratch you. Or maybe whoever it is that's trying to get your attention doesn't realize that's how they got your attention. So it may not have been intentional. The furniture being thrown around afterwards makes me, you know, kind of question, but yeah, I mean, you know, it's, I really never chalk anything up to anything demonic or anything to be scared of except spiders.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. That's about the only thing I'm really scared of on investigations. And I have, so you can kill them and I don't have to worry about it.
I have no problem with them.
8 legs, now I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, with residual hauntings, spirits, or demons, do you believe that they could all either be the same thing or there might be some other type of play when it comes to something possibly marking you? Like maybe the spirit of a child is in this one location while also coexisting with, like, let's say some dark energy that may feed off of something and then in a way kind of harm you, or...
I kind of feel like if something is truly something to be worried about, that I'm pretty in tune to my sixth sense. So I feel like if my little voice doesn't tell me, you know, go away, that's something bad.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I don't hear that, then I just treat it as if it's a human spirit of some type. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on cases before where you have something nasty happening. It's not necessarily a demon, but you know, there are malevolent human spirits that are still out there. You know, you hear the saying, you know, they were a jerk in life, they were a jerk in the afterlife. So that certainly happens. And kind of like Shana was saying, you kind of get that sixth sense that kind of like, you know, lets you know, that kind of alarms you, like, oh, something's up here.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of got to listen to something that you're not exactly used to, not just with your ears.
Yeah.
Right.
Always follow that gut instinct.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So have you guys ever felt like you were followed after investigation?
You have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. After I moved back to my hometown from ALTON, and nothing followed me from there, but I started working just up the driveway, up the alley from a place, and I got followed home from there on a regular basis by not just one of the child spirits there that I connected with, but also by some of the not so savory individual adult spirits that were there also. And back then I would always say, you know, don't follow me home, you know, but I really, I guess, didn't think about whether or not they would actually listen to me or not. And I don't think that I had the right type of energy or the filters set in place, the shielding, you know, that you do.
Yeah.
That says no, absolutely not. And so they followed me home a lot. And I tried to keep my kids away from it as much as possible. And it wasn't until one night one of them described somebody that I had seen and in their bedroom. And so I was like, yep, it's time to go have a conversation and maybe figure out how I can stop that from happening because I can't move, you know?
Yeah.
So then I kind of had to maybe shed a little more light on the subject and say, you know, if you see something like that again, you have to let me know. Mm-hmm. And just tell it to go away and leave you alone. Okay. It might listen. You don't know. Now, stuff doesn't really follow me so much here, like human spirits per se, but a lot of it is internal. Like I hear voices, but I don't need medicine for it kind of thing, you know?
I completely understand. Yeah.
Right. It's sometimes literally like a, you know, knock, knock. Are you busy? You know, it's like, not right now. I'm kind of busy. But then other times, it's definitely an experience. You know, if you tap in and sometimes it'll just literally take you to another place. Sometimes you visit where they're at mentally, you feel like you're there. And sometimes it's just like a little conversation. So I could probably talk about this for a lot longer than you guys want to. So.
Oh, no worries. We're actually in training right now for divination, trying to establish our, you know,
ways to protect ourselves from stuff like that. Yeah,
communications that are, you know, more suited to you or me or what have you, and see like what we can actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Would you say that there is a location that maybe either of you've been to that is just so intense with energy that you refuse to go back?
I refuse to go back.
I don't do basements anywhere.
You stay away from basements, right?
Yeah. But like to a venue, no, I always go back. I mean,
yeah, nothing scared me off, so
okay.
I'm always open.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. If there was one place that you guys could go to investigate, where would it be and why?
Paris catacombs, or there's a number of places in Scotland or Ireland that we've talked about. So,
oh gosh, do a castle tour. That would be fabulous.
I'd love to see a video on that.
Yeah.
It would be a dream to see a castle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let alone investigate one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're going to the catacombs, aren't you?
Later this year, me and my girlfriend are supposed to be going to Rome. So we're going to be checking out the catacombs.
Oh, the Rome catacombs. Nice. Very cool. Enjoy.
I'm really excited for that.
I think we've touched briefly upon this throughout some of the questions, but
yeah.
What would you say is the pinnacle of the most active location you've ever been to? Would it still be in ALTON, do you think?
I mean, Mineral Springs, every time we go, there's something going on. So, yeah, that's if you get a chance to go, and we have our Haunted Road Media Paracon coming June 1, so come on down.
We'll have to get on that then. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. The place is huge, and it's interesting. You know, there's 5 levels to it, and throughout each of the different areas, there's just something different going on. You know, there's a number of different spirits there, and so all the hauntings are, you know, kind of each their own.
Yeah, you can just every level that you go into, the energy, you can just feel the shift, you know, of the energy, and you can tell, ooh, this is something a little older. Oh, this is kind of maybe a little newer, and just it is probably the only place that has like the bowels of the building, the basement, where I actually feel calm. So it's
she'll go into that basement. Yeah,
that one's
no other ones.
No other ones. I don't like basements. I just don't like them.
Okay.
The older the basement, for me, the creepier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same with attics.
Yeah, attics are cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like attics.
You like attics? There you go.
Attics aren't bad. Yeah, I can do those.
I think it really, for me, it depends on the attic and like the way it's styled and everything.
Yeah.
Just give you like a weird feel.
So to any of our listeners that were like interested in kind of starting off in investigating, would you guys have any advice for people that are looking to start to get into that?
Yeah, I would say don't start going off on your own for one. Don't don't think that just because you've seen a couple of television shows and you're like, oh, I can do that you just, run off and do what they do at a location. No, TV is not a good example of how paranormal investigations are run. No. So find a local reputable team that's been doing this for a long time, and just ask if you can join, if you can participate in some of their investigations. They might be open, looking for new investigators, what have you, but start getting involved with somebody that's local and that's been around a long time. That to me, that's your best way to go. Yeah. And
please have some respect for the dead, because even though you can't see them, they were still people. So
yes,
yeah, just the same rules of etiquette still apply from us to them. Still have manners.
Yeah, don't be saying stuff
yourself.
like you're dead, right? Or
don't
like
do
that.
that.
Be respectful.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of bad things about people like trying to acknowledge or at least bring to light that the person has passed on, and it will stop the communication. It could unleash a plethora of things you don't want. Yeah. And overall, it's just manners,
It is. I mean, to me, it's like you walk into somebody's house and you let them know that they have dirty dishes in the sink. Like, oh, your house is a mess.
Yeah.
If they even realize that they're dead, they may not, and then that could just be, shocking, or they just may not believe you, and that could be an insult there. But just if they already know that they have passed on and they're living in their other realm, and you bring up their death, that's like a total turnoff.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would never do something like that during a paranormal investigation or any type of investigation.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. You will get a more positive experience and more interaction, I think, whenever you talk to them like they're people and not talk at them like they're objects.
So, yeah, or like you're scolding a child or what have you. You don't want to belittle the person.
No.
So.
Yeah, all this garbage, running into places, shouting, at the spirits, just stupid stuff that we've seen, like, even just turning on the lights. Can you turn on the light? Can you open a door? Knock something over, or the one that I just absolutely hate, hit me. It's like, really?
Yeah, that happens all too often.
Whenever I pass on and someone asks me that, I am definitely going to oblige.
Just tackle them. Just tackle. Go full extent.
Say, all right, you want it, you got it.
Yeah, just get a bunch of friends just in a line. Do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, with that said, before we draw everything to a close, do you guys have all this exciting news to shoot out to everybody?
Well, yeah, I mean, we always have a lot going on. So, of course, you can always find us on the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel. We're always releasing videos out there. We have our own live stream shows on Tuesday nights, but then, we have our Friday Night Ghost Fridays, paranormal investigation videos, all kinds of stuff that we always release. The big news, of course, is the Haunted Road Media Paracon, which is coming up June 1 at the Mineral Springs Hotel, which we just mentioned a few minutes ago. We had a fantastic time last year. That was our first year doing this. This is our second year coming up. So we have a lot of great speakers, a lot of great vendors that are there. We have the paranormal investigation afterwards. So definitely check it out. You can find all that at hauntedroadmedia.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get on that too. Come down and meet you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great. Come on down. We'd love to meet you.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Well, this was cool.
Yeah,
I feel like we really learned a lot from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's been very cool.
For everybody listening, take notes from them. They gave you a bunch of advice, and we're definitely going to be utilizing all of it. Especially Mineral Springs. That's moved up to the top of my list.
You guys have
definitely. That's the place to be. Yep.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you on.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having us.
Yeah, always. Hopefully, you could set something up in the future. Have you on again? Catch up. See what's been going on.
I'd love to do it.
Awesome.
Well, until next time, everybody, check them out. Check us out. All the links for everything that we've discussed will be in the description below. So get on down there. Hit that subscribe button, and we will all see you later.
Yep.
Witch's Hill.